Hello guys, and welcome back to K-Tapes. This week is a new year, and I want to first and foremost tell you everyone and wish you a happy 2024 with lots of good surprises, good health, and as they say, the rest will follow, right? So today we have I wouldn't say like a special episode or anything, but yet I've came across some tapes again recently. I didn't go too crazy with the purchases because I like to keep my stock very low, as I keep saying almost like every single video since like the past month or so, and I try to keep my promise on that. So you receive like a whole bunch of new stuff, which of course is always super cool to look through. That's me. I love checking for tapes, even though I'm not gonna buy anything, or even though it turns out there's nothing. It's always super cool to just dive into those tapes and see if anything will pop up. That's the big thing, right? It's the thrill of the chase, the thrill of the hunt. So here we go once more in 2024 with new tapes to look for or to look at. So I went to those tapes. Once again, I figured this should be about like 2,000 tapes in there. Also, I want to point out that some of the tapes there were actually there last time with my last video, where I show you some footage of the little piles I went through. So yeah, like the same tapes were also part of that. So I had to go through everything else because I guess the guy, when he dumped them there, they were already mixed up with the rest, or maybe some people browsed there already and they mixed up the thing. So I had to go through everything again. But what I'm going to show you today is about like no more than 12 tapes, to be honest. Like I didn't buy many, not even like 10 tapes. Actually, I have 10 tapes to show you today. And 2 of those came from the internet, so some websites and stuff. But from the tapes that I did pick up at this store, I would say it's about 8 tapes. And I have about like 4 more, but they're like Korean erotica, which I've never seen and that I needed to complete some sets and so on. So whatever, I'm not really going to show you those tapes, because unless I would showcase like all of them at once, but just like 1 or 2 like that is too interesting. But I might show you one of those though, but the rest I'm just gonna keep them aside. So anyway, that said, also about 8-10 tapes. They're really good tapes, by the way, so I'm really surprised because we kind of start 2024 with a bang. Yeah, so everything I went through was kind of interesting, although I noticed that many tapes that I picked up had the wrong cassette inside, and that was kind of heartbreaking. But thankfully, the tapes that I do buy for resale, none of those had that issue. It was mainly like the erotic tapes for some reason that didn't have the right tape inside. So there were like a few more I would have got, but it was the wrong tape inside, so I just left them there. And what else? So it's pretty much that. So I would say, like, because you see like the pile over there is like really huge. I would say I'd spend maybe, I don't know, something like 4.5 hours browsing through all this, going tape by tape, one by one, and checking. And also like some tapes I found I had to swap the clamshell because it was broken or it was something. So I really wanted to get like a decent, like everything in order. So for example, like I found a late release and the clamshell didn't match the logo, for example, like a Warner Brother. Well, I would try to hunt down inside that store another Warner Brother tape with a decent clamshell that was in okay shape or clean shape, and I would just swap it. So anyway, that's why I spent like so much time there, because most people maybe would have gone through this pile like very quickly, but I like to take my time, and if there's a title I find I'm not too sure, I double check online to make sure it's really something I don't miss out on or whatever. So without wasting any more time, I'm gonna dive with you and show you the tapes I got. Once again, there's no order. So the first one is not something really rare or anything, although it's quite in demand because, well, let's face it, it's A Nightmare on Elm Street, and this tape is always There's always someone asking me for that. Yeah, it's not in super shape. I mean, here it is like this here is a little bit peeled, but again, it's not too bad. And the reason I didn't swap this tape for another one is I couldn't find like the original Daewoo, like this clamshell, like they have one that have like a cutout here. Those are for the more like, I would say like mid-90s tapes that were from Daewoo, but this is like old school Daewoo. They all only come in like this unified side of it. I don't have one just to show you what the new school ones look like. I'm just checking a side. No, I don't have. Yeah, I don't have enough tapes. Anyway, so this one is in decent shape, I would say. It's just like the bottom right here that isn't too great. But the reason because of that is because sometimes the sleeve sticks out. So it was kind of like sticking out a little bit at the bottom. So that's why this was kind of a bit beat up. And also there was a sticker on top, so if you want to peel it off, even with heat and everything, it's so old that anyway it dried out. It was all dried up and stick to the sleeve itself. I tried my best, but yeah, this is how it came out. But it's not too bad. I mean, if it's sitting on a shelf, once again, it's not too distracting. The front and the back cover are in excellent shape, more or less. I mean, the back is, yeah, it's okay. And the tape itself is clean. I had to clean it a little bit. It had some marker. I don't know if you can notice it. Like someone wrote like 104. Of course, I use ethanol to remove this, but I don't know. It's old, right? So it probably like it's, you know, it's impregnated in the plastic by now. But I mean, other than that, this is not a big deal at all. So here you have it, A Nightmare on Elm Street, a decent copy, I should say. It's pretty collectible. So I'll have that at a very friendly price. Okay, next, yeah, let's go with this one. This one is a title I had before. It's a Trauma. It's an old giallo from the late 70s. I had that maybe, I should say overall I may have found like 5 copies over the years, but I've never found a copy that was so clean as this one. Look at this. It's perfectly mint. I mean, it's not mint because it has like this little thing here at the bottom, but by that I mean it's mint. It's totally unfaded, and I've never found a copy as unfaded as this one that looks like as new as this one. So of course there is only like the bottom right here, as you can see. Again, it's the same issue as the previous tape. You know, the sleeve was sticking out at the bottom, so it damaged this area, but other than that it's fine. Again, beautiful artwork. I mean, if you're into those films, I mean, this is a beautiful copy. And I did change the clamshell because it was a bit busted as well. And I did find a no-name clamshell because this had a no-name clamshell. So I did find like a, you know, just a nice black clamshell that was actually very, very clean. So it looks really stunning in that clamshell. If I look at the tape also, as you can see, very beautiful tape. I had to clean it as well, but yeah, now it's nice. So Trauma in, I mean, near mint condition and no sun fade. Okay, next it's, this one is a bit of a surprise. I did have to check online because I had no idea. I was like, I've seen this before, but what is that exactly? This is called Chrome Hearts, but it's actually Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. So if you're familiar with the film, well, this is the one. Again, it had like a busted clamshell. I mean, most of them had busted clamshell. I don't know why, but yeah, I had to swap them. And as you can see, this one looks like new. It's almost brand new. And it's kind of hard to find the matching clamshell with this label right here. But I know that their clamshells are this color. It's green. So I did find another green clamshell in the store, so I swapped it up. It's a, I think it's a Daewoo or something. But anyway, the only thing with this clamshell though is it's not broken. It just doesn't close and stay in place. I guess it would need to kind of be pushed this side, so you know it does. Anyway, So that's the only downside for this tape, but otherwise it's super clean. And again, if it's sitting on the shelf, it's fine, you know. It's like with time it will just clamp on. But that was kind of a bit of a defect with those clamshells, is that they don't really close properly. Yeah, kind of a bit loose. So here you have a couple of nice screenshots on the back. So Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town on Korean release, which is really, really cool. And again, this one, I'll probably let it go for a very, very friendly price. Okay, next we have something that was actually a special request, because I do not look for that stuff usually. Although I did find this tape a few times, but I never picked it up, or every time I found it, went back, it was gone, you know, those kind of situations. But ever since the person asked me for this tape, I looked around, I couldn't find any copies, you know, and you're like, come on, it's just hackers, nothing like that crazy special. But it's always like that, you know, like someone would ask you for like the most common movie ever, or that you would think this should be so easy to find, and yet you don't find it. That's the Korean rule of, you know, hunting tapes. It's always the same thing. You're looking for something you think you would find, and you end up not finding it. Even though, again, you have to be aware Korea has its own market. So maybe a tape like this would be super hard to find, but yet in the States, this is like something you'd find in every single pawn shop. But yeah, it's not the case. Korea has its own, like, you know, prints and rarities and stuff. I'm not trying to say this is hard to find. I'm just trying to say that it was hard for me to find it, even though I've seen it a few times. But I managed to find a copy, which actually is very clean, very good. And the tape itself, I had to clean it a little bit, but it was overall very clean to start with. And playback is very good as well. So yeah, and it comes in its original SKC clamshell, because this is an SKC release. So a couple of screenshots. I remember seeing this film when it came out. It was actually pretty good, with the main actor, one of the actors from Trainspotting, and of course Angelina Jolie with her short hair. Yeah, that was a cool film. And the guy from Scream. Okay, next, what should I show you? Oh, let's go with some late releases. For the late release fans out there, I have two titles. So this is the first one, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This tape came out in 2007, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the end of 2007. Yeah, and it's, did I see this film? I don't remember seeing, I've probably seen it, just I don't remember. Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. I just picked it up because Ninja Turtles, there's always people who want that, and it's called, people love this. The copy is pretty clean. There's barely any sun fade on the spine, although there's a little bit, but it's not too dramatic. I would say it's like 10% sun fade, but not more. So overall, very clean. Original clamshell as well, I have to mention it. So this is the Phantom Entertainment clamshell right here. You can see on the spine, the same label. Yeah, so the Ninja Turtles. And again, this is another title I'm gonna price at the same price I usually price those late releases, so you know, more or less 50, 45-ish, you know, something like that. Okay, the next one, however, this is a bit more rare, simply because this one is from 2010, and we have Final Destination 4. This is very rare, by the way. I only ever found one other copy, and it sold in a heartbeat. And this is only the second one I found. I did see like part 1, part 2. I did see part 3 at some point, but part 4 is I wouldn't say mad rare, but it's 2010 tape, and like I kept saying, anything 2010 is rare by default, simply because that year they really dropped down the production of videotapes, because it was the last year tapes were released in South Korea and in the world. So yeah, this one is very rare. So here you go. I'm just going to show you the back if you're curious about the artwork and everything. It's really nice copy. And I really love those, you know, little ratings, you know, like, oh, it has like spooky stuff, there's bad language, there's violence, so that's really cool. And as you can see, of course, the release date, let me focus, so that was February 2010. So yeah, very late release. And if you're a horror fan, I mean, there are not like a million horror films that came out around that time, and this was a cool one. And if you want it, well, here you go. It's on VHS, and oh, I have to mention, it is of course unfaded, so perfect condition. For that, there's only this like little crack on the box, but they all have, so many have that. I don't know why. I kept like checking, and they all have like this little crack here. It doesn't matter, because you know the case closes well, it snaps, it's fine. But yeah, there's just this little crack. And I do have to mention, of course, it's the original Warner clamshell that goes with the tape. Okay, so we're done with the late releases. Okay, just for fun, I'm going to show you my erotica that I found. This is called Dragon Soup. It's actually a ripoff of a TV drama that was famous at the time, but they made kind of like a erotic parody of it. Other than that, I wouldn't say like there's anything special about that, but for me, I really tried to hunt. I knew from like a tiny photo on the internet that was like, oh my god, like it was like this big, and if you blew it up, like you could barely see anything. It was all, you know, like off focus. But I knew the tape existed, but I've never seen it. And at some point I thought like, well, did I dream that? Or because the image didn't show like a picture of a videotape, it just showed like this image here, but it wasn't clear if it was a videotape or not. It just showed like, oh, there's a part 3 of that series. So I tried hunting down this tape for years, and finally I found it. I was like, wow. And I did have part 1, part 2, so it's really cool to complement this series and finally find part 3, because if I ever write about this, at least, you know, I have all parts. Also, it was in very good shape. Is there anything no, there's nothing too bad to show you on the back, just like a sexy girl, but everything's always blurred in Korean fashion, because you cannot show any, you know, top or bottom parts. So yeah, you can tell like there's some production value also in this movie. I mean, you know, it's probably shot on video and not on film, but yeah. So of course, like I said, it probably doesn't ring a bell to anyone in my viewers, but I was really shocked to find that. I was like, oh wow, I have to pick it up. So yeah, that's one, and it's the only erotic I'm going to show you today. But I did find like 2 or 3 other like super rare ones that I was really after, but yeah. Okay, the other one I have, this one comes from the internet. I didn't find that in the store, and it's, what's the title again? I have a Friendly Shock, that's the one. So that is Friendly Shock. It is it's like a weird mushroom-headed alien type of thing. And this is actually a Taiwanese version of E.T. With like crazy special effects, cheapo costumes and stuff. Let me just show you the back, although it doesn't really, well, you can kind of see here the costumes and stuff. It's fun for the whole family. It's the kind of stuff, like if you're into like weird Asian films, you must see this. So yeah, this is Friendly Shock. It has, sadly, you can tell it has like very bad sun fade here, but this film is now very hard to find, simply because of what I told you previously, that those kids films, especially the Korean ones, are super sought after by collectors in Korea. So they're getting harder and harder to find, and if you do find them, they're pretty expensive. But this one, yeah, I did pay like a decent price. I was super happy the tape was clean. So yeah, there you go. And this will go for sale. It's not going to be that cheap because of the rarity. I know there's a Taiwanese copy that exists of it, but it's even harder to find, I assume, simply because I think there's no like foreigners who are after tapes in Taiwan. Like, for example, what I do in South Korea, what I used to do on a larger scale in South Korea. So much harder to find. But yeah, this is a very good alternative if you want to see this film, the Korean version. Okay, if I follow suit with the kids stuff, this is, for me, this is a pearl. That's why, you know, when I said like we start 2024 with a bang, I do mean it. And I have this here. If you don't know this film, shame on you. No, if you don't know this film, it's totally fine. It's just one of those early 1990s films that actually Koreans made, and that I would say doesn't use like copyrights of something, and they kind of make their own version of, so they pretty much make a rip-off of. And this is, in other words, the Korean Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The real title of this is Our Friend Power 5, which has nothing to do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but yeah, it is. So let's look on the back, and you have some turtle action right here, and it's a live action film, but it does have some animation sequences, especially if you have like a spaceship or a big robot. You can have like some like kids animation mixed with those terrible costume actions. It's a blast. It's a blast. And this tape is, by the way, mad rare. I cannot stress that enough. I had only one copy of this film ever in my collection, and of course I sold it. I would say I found that like something like 8 years ago, maybe even 9 years ago, and I sold it. And I know that the person who bought it from me still has it, and it will probably stay forever in his collection. So it would be kind of impossible to find this in the wild or anywhere else, unless you pay like a really big amount of money. I mean, even in Korea, because in Korea, people selling that are selling it for like super expensive. That said, yeah, I think from the top of my head, I think there's 2 or perhaps even 3 people in the collector, like VHS collector circle, that do have a copy of this. So that would make it the 3rd or the 4th copy, you know, that would be possible to get. So yeah, I'm gonna put that for sale like later on, because I still don't know how much I would price it for. But this is not a cheap item by any stretch, simply because it's way too rare, and it's impossible to get now. Okay, now we're down to the last tape, and I keep the best for last, or so. And this one is Emmanuel in America. Okay, I know what some of you will say. It'll be like, oh yeah, but this is probably cut by like an hour, and the movie is only 20 minutes. You're not too far from the truth, although I would say it's maybe cut by 20 minutes. Simply because I look on the back, and you know how it is with, you know, the information on the back of the Korean VHSs, is they always have this default, sorry, I cannot zoom, maybe I can zoom. You see, this is the time here. So it says 79 minutes. Usually, they always put a default time of 90 minutes. Every single goddamn tape has 90 minutes. Let's take this one here, the Ninja Turtles. Where is it? Oh, okay, it wants to prove me wrong. It puts 80 minutes. But anyway, they usually put always 90 minutes. I don't know why it shows 80, but this one it says 79. And I think the uncut version of Emmanuel in America runs at about, I think it's 100 minutes. So it's like an hour, 40 minutes. So this makes it like 20 minutes shorter. So of course all the hardcore scenes are cut. But my point with this is the only fact that it does exist in South Korea, that they actually released it, no matter what, is insane. Because you would think like, you know, there's too much stuff in this film that should be cut out. They'll be like, okay, screw this, you know, it's banned or whatever. No, they still released it. So that's why it's so wow. And it's the first time I've ever found this tape, by the way. I've never seen this before in like 15 years in South Korea checking for tapes. You know, I could have said like, oh yeah, maybe I've seen it, just I wasn't interested in that kind of film. It does happen for like dramas and also especially like late releases, because I've seen them so many times. So some people sometimes ask me, oh, do you know if Up by Disney was released? I mean, it's not, you know, it's not my cup of tea. I've never looked for that, so whatever. But by the time, I think no, because yeah, I would have probably seen it at some point. But this, I've never seen that. So yeah, this makes it like very rare item. It also has the JW, so JW, the same label. Here you go. And this is the tape. It's super clean as well. I did clean it, but it was already super clean, which, by the way, is a huge plus, because usually those tapes, when you go check for tapes, either if you buy them in the wild, or if you buy them in a store, or if you buy them even online, they will have a tiny bit of mold now. It's kind of 2024, you know, now it's inevitable, okay? But this one had no mold, so wow. So even more interesting, I think. So let's check on the back. So right here, it's kind of like, has like a very unique cover art and everything. So you have Emmanuel in America. If you read the synopsis right here, it is Emmanuel in America. It says like the American photographer, you know, and there you go. This is a scene from the film. So this is Emmanuel in America. And if you look on the spine, is also very nice. I wouldn't say it's unfaded, but it's very beautiful. It's, I mean, it's anyway, it's a tape I will probably not find again. I mean, famous last words, right? But it is a truly beautiful tape. So there you go. This is Emmanuel in America, and it's that made my day. I mean, if I would have gone out of that store with nothing except this tape, I would have still be very happy. So yeah, this is what I got. Again, not too many, but I was pretty happy about what I got. Of course, I would have loved to get maybe more, but again, it always comes out to, you know, I want to get stuff, but I don't want to buy things that will just stay on my shelves, right? So from now on, I just buy things I know I will sell, or I know that eventually would sell. Of course, I'm not like 100% bulletproof with my my readings about this, because, you know, stuff like maybe, I don't know, maybe the Chopper Chicks and Zombie Down, no one will want it. I don't know, but I just feel it's something cool that it has a chance to sell at the price point I have in mind for this. So yeah, so except this one, which was a special request, so this will not go for sale. And of course this one, because this is for my my project about the Korean erotica. And of course, recently, well, I just sold this one. So yeah, so everything else you see here will be up for sale tomorrow or later on today, depending when I upload this video. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, that's always helpful. And again, well, Happy New Year once again. I wish you the best, and see you again on the next video.